I'm not proving everyone else wrong. I'm proving myself right at the end of the day. And so this is a great test. I know what I'm capable of.
The only pressure on me is when I put pressure on myself.
Who is the biggest star in boxing? Tank Davis.
Gervonta Tank Davis showed up, showed out. I saw it in Jake's face. Jake scared, bro.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is the matchup shaking the boxing world, blending star power, knockout potential, and a clash of styles that fans can't stop talking about. To begin with, Oscar De La Hoya shared strong thoughts on Gervonta Tank Davis, praising his talent, power, and excitement inside the ring, but questioning his status as the face of boxing. De La Hoya argued that Tank fights too infrequently, only once a year, which limits his impact. He challenged Davis to fight more often, even daring him to break his own legendary record of 5 world titles in a single year.
Tank Davis is not the face of boxing because he doesn't fight often. He fights once a year. And he's probably one of the best talents in the world. I love Tank Davis. I love watching him fight. I love when he goes in the ring and just demonstrates power and speed and he doesn't give a shit. I love that. But he has to fight more often. We want to see Tank fight 3-4 times a year. Tank Davis, I dare you to break my record. 5 world title fights in 1 year. Let's go.
Gervonta Tank Davis fired back on social media, addressing the much-discussed $2 million wager with Jake Paul. In his tweet, Tank made it clear he never intended to pay up, bluntly stating he was never getting that $2 mil. IDGF, what happens? The post adds another layer of drama to their build-up, fueling tension and fan debate. Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen broke down the heated exchange between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, where a friendly $250,000 wager quickly escalated into a $2 million bet during a press conference fueled by Iden Ross during the moment. Sonnen emphasized that Jake pushed it to make it official with a handshake, but since Tank never sealed the deal, Sonnen insists there's no real obligation for Davis to honor the wager.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis, make a bet, and Iden Ross is right in the middle of this. Like, there is really nobody that is better that's stirring the pot that does not come across as he's stirring the pot. Comes across as a regular guy. Like, Aiden has a skill. So they're at this press conference and Aiden comes to the microphone. Tees him up. All right. So it starts with a $250,000 bet. And this is between Jake and Tank, right? I mean, this is the old-fashioned, I think I can beat you. I think I can beat, but I really mean it. Do you really mean it? Okay, well, I mean it so much, I'll bet you 250 grand. Do you mean it enough to bet me 250 grand? And it escalates. It goes right to $500,000. It goes right to $1 million. They settle on $2 million, and Jake wants to make this thing official. So Jake actually says, shake on it. Now, these two have to be separated. These two cannot be together.
In addition, Chael described the dramatic moment when Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis crossed the stage, a move that usually signals chaos. Instead, both men honored the code by shaking hands, making their $2 million bet official. Sonnen admitted he found the gesture powerful yet slightly uncomfortable, noting that while such agreements feel meaningful, they often remind him of similar traditions and unwritten rules seen frequently in MMA circles.
And Jake gets up, comes across the stage, and Tank comes across the stage. Now, normally, if these two are going to come across the stage, all hell's going to break loose. They literally set that aside because of the code. And they shook hands. I thought it was great. I just thought this was this great thing. Now, I want to talk about this. These make me slightly uncomfortable. And in this setting, what I'm about to say may not apply, but MMA guys do this.
On the other hand, Rolly Romero reacted to the excitement around Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, pointing out the major size difference between the two fighters. While Tank's boxing skills are undeniable, Romero noted that Jake is naturally much bigger, making the matchup intriguing. He mentioned concerns about weight limits and rehydration rules, admitting that size could play a serious role, despite Tank's clear edge in skill and experience.
I don't even know what to think. Maybe Tank has an unreal boxing ability and Jake Paul is really big. But the last time I said somebody was going to be bigger, they weren't that much bigger. But I think in this case, somebody's actually a lot bigger, so.
Did you see the face-off? Like, he's like a lot bigger. Even though I know it's like 195 is going to be the limit, but it's still, like, Tank fights at 30, 35.
Is that the rehydration limit, or?
They asked him about rehydration and they said no comment. So I I don't know what's going on with that.
That's scary. That's scary. There's a lot of difference, but I mean, obviously, if we're gonna give it to skill-wise, we're gonna give it to Gervonta, you know? Like, there's no ifs, ands, questions, or any of that stuff. But like I said, size can play a big factor. Like I said, what are you gonna do if he just grabs you?
Furthermore, Jake Paul was asked whether his high-stakes wager with Gervonta Davis was legitimate and how much money was actually on the line. He confirmed the bet stands at $2 million, with Iden Ross backing him against Davis. Jake admitted many boxing bets never materialized beyond stage talk, but insisted this one will, revealing that they plan to have a formal contract drawn up to make it official.
Are the bets legit? How much is on the line now? I didn't sum up everything.
Yeah, it's $2 million on the line, me and Aiden Ross versus Gervonta Davis. And, you know, a lot of these bets don't become materialized with these boxers when they say it on stage, but we're going to go get a contract drawn up right now.
Likewise, Michael Fox shared his thoughts on the growing anticipation surrounding this bout, saying boxing is in a wild place where unusual matchups keep happening. He pointed out the oddity of a world-ranked cruiserweight like Jake even entertaining a fight with a lightweight. While acknowledging the big size difference in the spectacle factor, Fox admitted the fight is driven by entertainment and money and attention, something Jake Paul thrives on as a social media star.
Y'all be letting everything happen. We got Jake Paul and Tank about to do a rematch. Do an exhibition or whatever. Boxing's just in a crazy place right now, where a world-ranked cruiserweight says he wants to fight tougher fights is about to fight a lightweight. You know what I mean? So, whatever.
Is it insane for Jake Paul to even try to entertain something with Tank? Because I know that there's a difference in size, but because you've been in a ring with Tank before, is that a bad idea for Jake Paul to fight Tank?
I mean, there's money involved. Jake Paul is a social media star. In other words, in essence, he's an attention whore.
In a similar fashion, Showbiz The Adult analyzed the heated face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, focusing on their body language. He noted that after Jake's push, he left too much space, revealing hesitation that Tank immediately recognized. Showbiz said Tank smirked with confidence, exposing the difference in mentality, and he emphasized that while Jake comes across as too domestic, Tank is a true animal inside the ring, built for combat at the highest level.
Bruh. I saw it in his face. More importantly, Tank saw it. He saw it the first time. Tank looked at him after the push. Jake Paul left all this space after the push. Jake was looking at Tank and he was trying to die. That was not the guy he saw yesterday. And Tank is looking at him and he smirked. He smirked and was like, he's too domestic. I tried to tell you guys in a podcast, Gervonta is an animal for real.
Moreover, Showbiz broke down the psychological battle between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, stressing the difference in mentality. He said Tank comes from streets of Baltimore, wired as a real fighter, while Jake is more of a showman. Showbiz explained how Tank tested Jake for sizing up his rage and then pushing him to gauge his emotional reaction. In his view, Tank was applying the art of war, exposing Jack's vulnerabilities.
Tank, what I'm saying is he's from the block. He's from B-More. All the games he played, all the things, how he's wired, how he thinks is not how Jake thinks. Jake is a showman. On top of that, in the eyes of Tank, Jake saw a fighter. And I'm talking about a different kind of fighter. I'm talking about a violent person. Bro, Tank was looking at him like y'all said. A lot of y'all, I'm giving y'all all y'all peace. Y'all told me in the comments that Jake was looking at him and he was sizing him up. He pushed him this time. First, he looked at him to see, let me see his reach. Remember when he tapped under his arm? Let me see if I can touch him, see his reach with his stance. Jake is giving too much away. Tank Davis is a fighter. That's what he is, the art of war. Then he pushed him to see how he is emotionally. He checked him out physically, now he's checking him out emotionally, see if he's rattled.
Building on analysis, Wade Clemens shared his perspective on Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, reminding fans that the matchup is an exhibition. He said that the real risk only comes with a knockout. If Jake gets stopped, it could badly damage his career. And if Tank gets knocked out, it would be devastating for him. However, if the fight goes to a judge's decision, Wade believes neither fighter's stock would rise or fall significantly.
Well, it's not considered a loss to anyone, because this is an exhibition. Let's not forget, this is an exhibition. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. If Jake, and I would only say by knockout, if Jake gets knocked out by Tank Davis, this would be a devastating mark on his career. No doubt about it. If Tank were to get knocked out by Jake, it would be a devastating mark on his career. But if we have like a judge's decision in exhibition, which I didn't even know was possible until yesterday, the Keisa said there's going to be a judge's decision. All right. That's probably what's going to happen. But if this is like a judge's decision thing, I don't think anyone's stock necessarily goes up or goes down. Again, I have said what I think this fight's going to look like. I think it's going to be very difficult for Jake to hit Tank clean. If he does, fight changes. I think it's going to be very difficult.
Furthermore, Wade reacted to Tank Davis's press conference demeanor, noting that Tank claimed he feels no pressure other than what he puts on himself. Tank promised to deliver a great show for the fans on November 14th without making bold knockout predictions. Wade appreciated the honesty but felt Tank lacked visible aggression, suggesting Davis might not view Jake Paul as a serious enough opponent to truly get fired up.
Yeah, I feel like it's no pressure on me. You know, the only pressure on me is when I put pressure on myself, you know. That's why I'm not going out here and saying I'm going to knock him out or anything like that, you know. So we just going to put on a great show come November the 14th. And the fans won that night, you know. I just want to put on a great show so everybody can, you know, be happy.
I don't hate the answer from Tank, because it sounds like it's honest. But again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. Again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Finally, Chael Sonnen explained why Jake Paul's handshake with Gervonta Tank Davis carries major weight, stressing that in combat sports, a man's word is everything. He said the industry can't function if fighters' promises are questioned, since endless contracts and negotiations would stall progress. Sonnen emphasized that the handshake symbolized trust in the unspoken code of boxing, and that's why he needs Jake Paul to win and validate his word.
And here's why I need Jake Paul to win. We have to have clarity on this. The one thing you can't have in this business is anybody question your word. Truly. If your word gets called into question, you're out of business. We do not have time to do contracts every single day. We do not have time to meet with people and re-meet and negotiate and then renegotiate and sign this and make sure it goes through legal and get it notarized and get it over here and get it filed. We don't have time. It has got to be, will you do this? Do you agree to that? It has to be, or the industry comes to a stop. Now, I'm just sharing with you, everybody's involved. You got a triangle. You got the promoter, you got the red corner, you got the blue corner. They all have to understand this code. Now, Jake shakes on it, and I knew what that meant.
At the heart of it all, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis isn't just about size, skill, or even money. It's about two men stepping into the ring to prove who they truly are when everything else is stripped away. Tank represents raw power, pedigree, and the unshakable mentality of a fighter forged in Baltimore's toughest streets. Jake embodies disruption, ambition, and the will to defy every expectation placed in front of him. This fight is more than a spectacle, it's a clash of mentalities, a test of pride, and a gamble with legacy on the line. When that first punch lands, the world will find out whether Jake Paul is truly ready for the storm, or if Tank Davis will remind everyone why greatness can be manufactured. So it is your turn. Is this the moment Jake Paul shocks the world, or will Gervonta Tank Davis deliver the kind of brutal reminder that silences all the hype? Drop your predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this is just the beginning of the storm.